I guess the least you can do now is watch my presentation since you didn't help me up after I fell. That right there is an example of guilt appeal. I'm Bernie, and for my psychology presentation, I'm going to be exploring how guilt appeal is used in society and the effects it can cause on people. So the first thing that we're going to look at is, what is guilt? So guilt is a self-conscious emotion. There are three things that can inflict guilt in someone. It could be from something they did, something they failed to do, or something that kind of violates their personal morals. So guilt can be a bad thing, but it can also be a good thing. It can help push people to right wrongs and apologize and act in a certain way. It can also cause guilt proneness, and may be related to empathy and trustworthiness. Now, one important thing to know is that guilt is not shame. So shame is an internal conflict with someone, whereas guilt is more of something that's caused between someone and someone else. So apology is theorized to be a byproduct of guilt and empathy. Now, apology is usually between one person and someone else. You're not going to apologize to yourself if you fall, trip, and you did something silly. So again, shame can be doing something poorly, such as running a bad race, tripping and falling on your face. You have no one to blame but yourself. And that's really what shame is. If I'm running the hurdles, because I'm in track, and I trip and fall on one, I'm not going to apologize to the person in the lane next to me. It's not their fault, it's my fault. Now, apology is garnered from guilt and empathy. It is also the action done to relieve guilt, or right or wrong. Again, apology, not something that's going to be associated with shame. Apology is going to be if I hit someone, or maybe if I forget to get someone a gift for their birthday, I'll apologize because it's in between me and the other person. So this apology can be many things. So for example, again, apology can just be asking for forgiveness for someone. Apology can also be maybe going out and acting in some way. A lot of commercials and advertising will try and get you to feel guilty and have an apology, where your apology is going to be, for example, buying their product, or maybe acting a certain way, like not using plastic bags. So shame and empathy, how are they related? So apology is somewhat mediated by empathy. So empathy is an emotion that you can feel, again, shown here, that can help garner an apology. So someone who is not empathetic may not feel guilt. For example, like a serial killer. They won't feel that need to apologize in that sense. Shame has an inverse relationship with apology, because if you're feeling shame, again, you're not going to feel that need to apologize because it's just that internal conflict. An apologetic person is more likely to accept or see what went wrong, and they're more likely to take steps towards changing something and finding a solution. Shown in this diagram right here by Tigney and colleagues, this was a study they did, and it shows the relationship between apology, guilt, empathy, and shame. So the positive integers here, you may not be able to see it, show a higher correlation with something. The negative ones show an opposite correlation. So guilt has a strong tie-in with empathy, and empathy is a strong tie-in with apology. Empathy somewhat mediates the relationship between guilt and apology. It's a 0.64 to empathy, and then a 0.3 to apology from guilt to apology. This shows that they're strongly related. So a more empathetic person, again, is going to have more, who feels more guilt, is more likely to apologize. The negative 0.33 here between shame and apology shows that they're not really related, again, because that's an internal conflict. Someone who is feeling shame is not going to apologize. So now we're going to get into the main part of this. What is guilt appeal? So guilt appeal elicits a certain feeling or response from someone about really anything. So this is often used by charities, marketing, really anyone trying to get their way or get a certain response from someone. So it can persuade someone to feel guilty about something, and something that they fail to do, or something that they can change if acted upon. Some examples are the ASPCA dog commercials. There's also like organizations and other movements around the nation nowadays that elicit guilt appeal to help promote people to think their way and support their movements. So guilt induction. So there are three aspects of guilt induction: responsibility, the action or lack thereof, and the personal morals that are violated. This ties back into the first slide we talked about regarding guilt. So responsibility. Someone won't feel responsible for something if they don't feel connected to it. By making some people feel responsible for something that happened, you connect them with what's happening. So again, for some marketing schemes, they can tie you in to something by saying, if you're buying plastic bags or you're buying plastic straws, maybe you're killing the turtles. The action or lack thereof is causing harm. Again, this ties in to the first one. The action could be like if you don't donate money to an animal shelter, those animals are going to die, or maybe you could be sick. Third, the personal morals are violated. Again, if someone feels as though their morals are violated, they may make change. From this, successful guilt appeal should induce a sense of help in people, because if they feel connected, responsible, and want to help, they're going to try and change something. Who is it aimed towards? Really, guilt appeal can be aimed towards anyone. So charities want the public to donate. Some people may use this to receive favors from others. For example, when I walked in and I tripped and fell, I wanted you to help me up. But since you didn't, maybe I want you to get me more cookies one day. You should give me the last cookie because I broke my leg. What would your mother think if you did that? These are real world examples of guilt appeal and how they can be used to affect people and how they act. If advertisements have a certain target audience, they may use test audiences. So again, marketing and certain charities and organizations want a certain response from people. They'll use test audiences to see if that certain response is what they're going to get. So if someone wants someone to feel sad and maybe have to go out and do this certain thing, like go buy shoes, donate, they'll use those test audiences to get that response. How does it affect choices? It can promote constructive action as well as negative thoughts. The action can be propelled by the sense of help from guilt induction, again going back to that sense of connectedness, responsibility. The negative attitudes and angry responses can be targeted towards where the guilt appeal is coming from. The more intense the guilt produced, the angrier the responses, and the more moderate guilt appeals shows the best reaction. Instilling a sense of responsibility makes a person feel connected. Again, this is all about feeling connected and responsible for something that you want someone to act upon. This right here is a study given to us by Science Direct, and it shows us like models of how people will test certain products and their responses. So right here we have two different kinds of advertising. We have one for dental floss and we have one for bread. So over here we have a low guilt appeal, moderate guilt appeal, as well as a high guilt appeal. So in the first one, for example, for the bread, for the low guilt appeal, it says, children will eat anything. Had to be joking. Children have taste too. So again, a very low amount of guilt appeal because maybe children will eat anything. For the moderate one for the bread, it says, moms who don't teach their children to eat good meals have children who don't always learn. You shape your child's eating habits, so don't let your family down. This puts that guilt onto the parent, example for the mother in this case, where they will have children who don't always learn, and it's their responsibility to shape their child's eating habits. So subliminally, they're putting this into the mother's mind that it's their responsibility to go out and make that change, maybe buy that certain bread product. For the high guilt appeal, they really lay it on to the mother here. It's your responsibility to make sure that your kids have healthy eating habits. The pressure is on you, so don't make any mistakes. Do it right. So in this case, it's putting all of that pressure on the parent to make this right decision, and that's their fault if something goes wrong. So these are really the kinds of the things they'll use on test audiences to find that sort of guilt appeal. And the next example, this shows the correlation of how really those high and low guilt appeals are going to affect people. The low guilt appeals are going to have a lower effectiveness, kind of like the high ones as well. The ones that are more moderate are going to have the highest responses to people. Again, this is also given to us by Science Direct. How is it employed? So as we've been talking about through this whole presentation, there's advertisements, there are certain marketing schemes, charities, and this is used in everyday life as well. In the sense of marketing, there's two different kinds of guilt appeal that's employed. There's commercial marketers and social marketers. So commercial marketers use the appeal to get people to buy certain goods or products. So as we saw in the second last slide, with the bread and the dental floss, that's aiming for people to buy a certain product, have them buy a certain good because it's going to help them accomplish a certain task, like feeding their family, getting the best bread for their family. Social marketers use the same tactics, but for non-commercial reasons. So this is trying to influence people to act a certain way, go out and do a certain thing, like donate to charity, maybe go out and help like clean up the neighborhood. This is trying to reform people's behaviors, and more so than having them go out and buy goods. In this video by the ASPCA, this is a great example of guilt appeal in marketing.
The animals in our life depend on us, and they do a lot of waiting, patiently waiting for us to come home, to go outside or to play with them. They wait and we deliver, greeting them with our love. But for the thousands of animals who are being abused or neglected right now, waiting means something different. They spend their entire lives waiting for a better life. Some wait for kindness and love. Some wait in darkness, hungry, cold, and afraid. All of these animals are waiting to be rescued. Will you help them today? Visit our website right now or call this number. Your $19 a month is all it takes to give an animal who's waiting the chance to feel safe and loved. Please don't let them wait any longer. Take action right now and donate just 63 cents a day. Your gift will rescue animals and save lives. And as our thanks, we'll send you this package with the photo of a rescued animal and our member magazine.
So in that commercial, again, that's using the commercial marketing scheme. They want you to go out there and, again, buy that product, but it's also using social marketing as well because they want you to go out and make the change for the animals. Go out and donate. So this is probably one of the most predominant examples of guilt appeal really in the world right now because it's the most prominent because people see it all the time on television. So here's my works cited. But in the end, guilt appeal is a really prominent thing that's used throughout our society. It can be used in your everyday life to maybe have someone do something for you. It's used in marketing to have you buy something, act a certain way. And really, it's just a great way to have someone do something for you. So again, thank you for watching this presentation. I hope you learned something about guilt appeal today. Thank you.